Good evening, everyone. The Human Relations Commission pre-meeting study session is now open, and it's open to the public to attend. At this time, we're going to have the roll call. Mayor Heath,
Present.
Andrea Bernard, present. Commissioner Rakeem Ramos,
Commissioner Ramos present.
Commissioner Robert Banky,
Present.
Commissioner Harvat.
Present.
All right, our other commissioners are not present. So we'll move forward. We will excuse them in the next meeting, 7 o'clock meeting. All right, our regular minutes were given to you. I hope all of you received them. And if you did not, please let me know. There was one correction, and we'll make those corrections during the 7 o'clock meeting. And that was just the title of the minutes. It said agenda instead of minutes. All right. We will move forward the Treasury Report until later. So now we're on old business. We're going to talk about the Open Meetings Act. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Ramos, who's going to take our meeting, the pre-meeting further. Commissioner.
All right, so first up on old business is the Open Meetings Act 267 of 1976, discussion of it. I believe we were all sent this in email and we're expected to at least review it a little bit so that we could discuss it now and review it a little bit further.
Disagree. I've received no emails regarding that.
Thank you for that notice, and we will make sure to correct that. I will make note, and I'm sure at least one more of us will make note to correct that immediately.
And can you repeat what you had said, Commissioner Banky?
I have received no communications about any meeting until I found it online last night, and I've received nothing in regards to the Open Meetings Act.
Okay, can you give us your email address, please?
Yes, I provided it in my application.
I know you did, and that's the one that I used because I did forward it to you. So can you give it to us again, please?
If he doesn't want to give it here, you can just do it after.
We can do it
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, you
yeah,
could
'cause
just.
I
give us
wouldn't
a
wanna do
written
that.
Version.
All right.
I wouldn't want to.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, so the discussion on.
So given that we have one member that did not see it, do we have paper copies available that we could hand out? Or should we table this until our next time so that he has some time to look at it?
It would be good to just go over a couple of the items that we were discussing in June and July. And that is whether or not we could, what we can say or not say and how we can operate during the open meeting.
I would move forward with the discussion. I'm more than confident in my background and skills and knowledge on the topic.
So you're open to continue? All right. So the Open Meetings Act. Trying to get my paperwork here. The Open Meeting Act, the discussion that we need to talk about is that is a public meeting. And when whenever we have a meeting, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's electronically or any other way, we have to notify the city and let them put it online or on our Facebook page or the city page to let people know be notified that we will be having a meeting. And so that is one of the things that we were discussing as when can we have separate meetings? Can we have closed sessions? Closed sessions are not allowed for most of the things that we have to do unless it is a private conversation about somebody being expelled from or removed from position. So other than that, our commission does not have to have it. So is there any discussion about that?
Yes, I would correct that and say that while you can have discussion about expelling someone from a position, you must hold the vote in public. It cannot be held in closed session.
Yes, the vote would be held in public, but the discussion would be private. So we could have a closed session to discuss it, and then we would vote, bring it to the forefront and vote on it.
And that closed session would be only at the request of the individual that's being considered,
Yes,
not by the commission.
And that's how I understand it as well.
yes. Okay, any other concerns or questions about the Open Meeting Act at this point? Any other?
The only other time that it could go to close, I don't see this ever happening within the HRC, but it's happened a lot to us in the regular city commission, is if it was to receive information from the city attorney, privileged information from the city attorney. That's a possibility. It could happen within this group. So that's another thing to keep in mind. I don't see it happening very much. It happens quite often with us on the city commission to receive counsel, and that needs to be done in a closed session. And that's basically one of the only times we go into closed session. There's a few other times, but that's the main. And I could see that happening in HRC. So I don't want to completely rule that out because that could happen with our city attorney.
Right.
And it has
actually-
happened before when I was coming to your meetings. I wasn't on it, but I was,
Right.
yep.
Right. And I agree. And we actually did have some closed sessions while we had another chairperson in with it, our attorney. So the attorney can call a private closed session meeting, and then we did vote in the regular meeting. So I think we're pretty clear on some of that, and we'll have a discussion later when the other members are present so that we can make sure that they understand those are the things that cause us to be able to have closed sessions. And also the Open Meeting Act, we also had a discussion in July, I believe it was, when we were talking about when a person, commissioner is unable to attend the meeting and they're on Zoom, they are not supposed to say anything during as a member. They can't vote, they can't do anything while they're on Zoom or on the technology, but they can speak during public comments. So that is something that we'd like to make sure that people know when they're not available to be a part of the regular meeting in person. As long as we're all in person, then they will not be speaking.
I'd also just comment on the fact that during that time when you're making your comments during public comment, that if the rule is that there's only one-way communication from public comment to the commission, that would still hold true for the commissioner that's online, that there wouldn't be an inquiry of questions and being asked questions from the remote commissioner from the full commission.
Any other discussion about the Open Meetings Act? All right, I'll turn it back over to our vice chair.
All right, if discussion's done on that for the moment, then we will move on to the HRC ethics training by Mayor Sword Heath. So I will turn it over to our mayor.
It's not so much even just a training as it is just going over. I gave everyone at the last meeting, which I do apologize, Commissioner Binky, because you weren't here yet at that point. That just to go over, this is something that they're trying to do annually within the commission's DDA, just recently did it as well. Just to, go over our responsibilities and what it means to serve on a commission. This is something that every commission has had discussion about at some point, but we're trying to make it an annual discussion now, because especially a lot of the commissions have different members coming and going. So just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. I'm just going to quickly go over it. It's as a representative of the city of Adrian, I will be ethical. Just means that you're going to act with the utmost integrity and moral courage. You'll be truthful and dependable, make practical decisions. You will be fair, extending equal opportunity to all individuals in the commission that you serve. Show respect for all persons. Use your title only when conducting official city business for informational purposes. As a representative of the city of Adrian, you'll be professional. And what that means is you'll apply your knowledge and expertise to your assigned activities and to the relationships that are part of your job, whether it's on a committee or whatever it might be in that capacity. And approach your job and work-related relationships with a positive attitude and keep professional knowledge and skills current and growing. As a representative of the city of Adrian, you'll be service-oriented, be courteous, attuned to and care about the needs and issues of citizens, be interested, engaged, and responsive. I would definitely hope we are the HRC, the Human Relations Commission. This really should be something that if you're on this, you should have already really been passionate about that to begin with. And I feel like everybody is. Number 4, be fiscally responsible, and so that comes to when it comes to like our treasure and like the money that we have and how we are spending our money within the HRC and for the good of the community. Be a representative of the city of Adrian. You need to be organized. So that means, with decision-making, being efficient, recommendations based on research and facts, follow through in a responsible way, keeping others informed, respectful of established city processes and guidelines, and make every decision in a timely manner established by the government of the city, which a great example of that would be when we had recently had a complaint that was brought forth and the process that was followed involving a local hotel and a complaint that was brought to the Human Relations Commission on being discriminated on by and being biased. Okay, so that's what that really would apply to right there. As a representative of the city, that you will be communicative. So you'll convey the city's care for and commitment to its citizens. That you will engage in effective two-way communication and speak to all citizens with respect. Once again, I feel like that is something that you wouldn't be on the HRC if you didn't feel strongly about that. As a representative of the city of Adrian, you'll be collaborative and act in a cooperative manner with groups or other individuals, work toward consensus building and gain value from diverse opinions, accomplish the goals and responsibilities of your position while respecting your role as a member of the team. Consider the broader regional and statewide implications of the city of Adrian's decisions and issues, and collaborate with other city offices or groups or commissions for the benefit of the community. Just to clarify on that, because I've had a few people bring this up before, and it even came up with somebody from DDA, but that doesn't mean that you have to go along. You always should be challenging. You always should be thinking, not even thinking outside the box, but just you want to keep challenging. Like, it's good to challenge your own commission members. It's good to challenge the city commission. It's good to challenge and ask those hard questions. It doesn't mean that you don't do that. It just means that you take all of these other things into consideration while doing that. But it does not mean that you just sit back and don't question anything or don't try to make things better, so I just want to reiterate that still means that you push, it might possibly push the envelope, but like really, push for change and challenge others in their thinking and have those conversations. As a representative of the city of Adrian, I'll be progressive. So that means exhibit a proactive, innovative approach to setting goals, display a style that maintains consistent standards, but is also sensitive to the need for compromise, promote intelligent and thoughtful innovation in order to forward the city's policy agenda and the city services. As a representative of the city of Adrian, I will practice responsible use of social media. So just, and I cannot see anyone on Human Relations Commission doing this. That means dishonorable content such as racial, ethnic, sexual, religious, and physical disability slurs are not tolerated. And I would sincerely hope, being that we are the Human Relations Commission, that wouldn't happen. And it's not that I've ever seen that, but that's just part of this ethics. And that I will not initiate or encourage negative behaviors on social media. As a representative of the city of Adrian, I will not tolerate discrimination in any form. Through my own actions, I will set the example for tolerance and understanding. Number 11, as a representative of the city of Adrian, I will be respectful in practice. This looks like practicing self-respect, strong humility, actively listening to your fellow officials, your fellow commission members, and that you will make good, reputable choices in what you say and do. So that's like the basics of that. I mean, I walked through pretty much all of it right there pretty quickly. But it's just, it's just a standard. This, some of the language in here, this is also for people that work at the city of Adrian as well. So it's not just commission members. So if you, some of that language, you'll see coworkers and things like that, because it is meant for everybody that is affiliated within the city of Adrian, whether it be on a commission or as an employee or elected official or whatever it may be. But yes, so just to kind of, reiterate, we are going to get, and we have a lot in the past, things either brought to us or things that we bring up ourselves as a commission that sometimes maybe asking the hard questions, or sometimes maybe challenging the way it's always been done, or it may be something that is not always an easy fix, or whatever it may be. And I know I can tell you, there's been many a times, it doesn't mean it has to be 100% agreement. It just means that we are being respectful and not bashing others, or or cutting down our other commission members, or whatever it may be in that respect. But I mean, I can tell you from personal experience on the city commission, we don't agree a lot. I mean, recently, if you went to a meeting, yes, there was a lot of unanimous votes, but a lot of times there's not. And I know Commissioner Gauss is in here, and, trash discussion, which was in public, wasn't always the most pleasant discussions that were happening. And there were a lot of us not on the same page and agreeing, and we didn't have to agree. We could agree to disagree and still respect each other. I didn't vote the way the majority of the city commission did, but it doesn't mean that I didn't respect their opinions or their thoughts, or my other fellow commission members. I just didn't vote the way they voted. And I still passionately would probably vote the same way. I don't think nothing's changed in my mind either, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't work together as a commission. We still work very well as a commission, even when we don't agree on items. And that happens quite often. And, the same way goes here. And we've had many human relations commissions where, planning commission meetings, go to one of those. They don't always agree. There's there will be some tough decisions where maybe it's just barely a majority that vote for something or against something. It doesn't really matter what commission it is. There's always going to be those tough votes. And, and just as long as, we are being ethical and, and valuing each other and, and listening. And we don't all have to agree. So I don't want anybody to take that away from this at all, because that is not what this ethics and values code is about at all, never has been. And like I just gave you a lot of examples, we don't agree a lot, even at the city commission level or any other commission that I've been at. And it's great sometimes to have those really hard conversations in a respectful way, because I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen commissioners change their mind based on those great conversations that were very respectfully done. And commissioners that were very, very adamant that they were going to vote a certain way will all of a sudden change their mind. And they a lot of times will give comment like to why they changed their mind, but it was by listening. They were not closed off to someone else's opinion, and they listened. And sometimes they have changed their vote, even though they came into that meeting pretty set they were going to vote a certain way. And that's why it's great to have these conversations and and have this dialogue. And that's one of the beauties of a pre-meeting, because you can have that dialogue, because that's where the dialogue happens on the city commission level as well. Because you can't really have that dialogue in a regular meeting when we're voting and it's already a resolution. That dialogue happens at those pre-meetings, and that's where it needs to happen. And, you know, I will always be a proponent of there comes cases where, yes, if it's a case of, you know, racial discrimination or any discrimination based on, you know, sexual orientation or race or any kind of bias like that's a little bit more black and white and a little more cut in, you know, and dry. But we can, you know, have those discussions and not always agree and not feel the same way. And maybe you will change your mind by listening to others. Maybe you won't, but it's great to have those conversations. And that's the beauty of being on a commission. And you shouldn't feel like you have to agree with everyone. But as long as we just treat each other with respect.
And that's been my understanding of it as well. As a particularly vocal member of the community, I have asked why the commission, among other public entities, do things numerous times. I suppose the difference is I'm asking them to explain themselves rather than assuming there's some boogeyman. But of course, it does get infuriating sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to sit there and be quiet. Sometimes I kind of do want to yell and take a moment to calm myself down a little bit and then speak. And welcome to our commissioners that have just recently arrived. We're glad that you can make it here. Don't worry about it. We're just happy to have you. Is there any further discussion upon the ethics that have been sent to you via email and that at least one is floating around here? Is there anything anyone would like to say about that?
We'd like to send a copy down to
Yes,
the new commissioner.
can we send?
I've received the copy.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Good. And just to make the rest of the commission aware, I did send Commissioner Binky like 3 emails, maybe it was 4. I don't know how much I bugged him, but I forwarded him a whole bunch of emails so that he could more easily participate. And I will connect with a couple of you later to make sure that we use the correct email going forward. So one last time I will ask, is there anyone that would like to say anything upon the ethics as we have reviewed them so far?
Yes, we're supposed to sign for these, but we won't do it tonight because we need to have a chance to go over them again. And so the next meeting, if the mayor wants us to, we will need to make a choice about signing for that. The city will have a record of us signing for the booklet, the packet.
Did we not sign these when we were sworn in?
We did not.
Okay.
So none of us have ever signed them.
That was also missed on
That was the
DDA,
point.
planning, all of the commissions. That's not just, yeah.
So the city is requiring that we at least acknowledge that we have received it. That's basically what the signature is about. That's all I have on that.
All right, thank you. Not hearing nothing else on that at the moment. I will go ahead and continue us on forward to the committee for the calendar, for our calendar update.
All right, our committee for the update, our calendar, the changes that we're going to make. Commissioner Harvet is going to talk to us about October and November. The changes.
Yes, October 15th will be our trauma training from 10 to 3 at Weber Center. So that remains the same. Okay, but the November gathering we had for previously November 4 and 5 needs to be changed to November 18 and 19, the following week, following 2 weekends, because the individual that is giving that particular racial equity training is not available on the 4th and the 5th. So it is the 18th and the 19th, the 18th 6 to 8 and the 19th 10 to 1.
So we want to vote on that at the 7 o'clock meeting for us to make those changes for the November meeting, which will be the 18th and 19th instead of the 4th and the 5th.
And then the town hall meeting, we were thinking of on human trafficking. In November, we're not going to have it then. We'll have it in January, most likely. And we did not set a date for January.
Do you know if sister will be available to receptive to that January date then?
She's the one that suggested this.
Yep.
She
that-
suggested it. with
Okay.
15.
Thank you.
Since that is the month that they're talking about trafficking.
Right.
So for that month, and so now we're going to try to put a town hall together in January. And we'll get those dates that's most convenient for her.
Right.
And she will let us know. We still will be having our regular meeting though in January
Mhm.
as well. So that's the, is there any other update?
No, that's all for now.
The other part is Commissioner Hatton about our fire department and also the other things that we were trying to get for our pre-meetings. Now that we're having pre-meetings again, we were talking about who we could have to come and participate during the pre-meeting. The fire department has not been able to get back with us to give us a time and date. So we're still seeking to have them be part of a pre-meeting in the first of the year. Since we already have October covered for our training, the trauma training. November, we will have the diversity, equity, inclusion training. So we will want to do that instead of trying to pack it into a pre-meeting right now. So if you have any discussion on that, those are the things that we want to let you know have changed.
And just to clarify, both, I just want to make sure, because things were changing a lot. Both Saturday, October 15th and the November 18th through 19th, those are all at the Weber Center?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought, so
They're
I
all
just
at
wanted to make
Weber
sure.
Center.
Thank you.
Mhm. Now, we do have to get an invoice from both of, for both of those meals because the city, I've talked to the city administrator about providing the finances from our account to pay for the meals. and also for the training. So we're looking for the invoices to come in to us. Now, they may come in after the event is over at the Weber Center, and also for the training for diversity inclusion, the cost of the trainer for human relations, he's the Department of, Michigan Department of Civil Rights. He will be coming and he will send us an invoice after he has done the training. So the city has agreed, that's fine, as long as we submit that. But what we need to know ahead of time is what the cost is going to be, so we can give that to our treasurer and they can submit that to the city. Any questions or comments on our new information for the subcommittee? If not, then we'll just note the time for diversity and inclusion time. Equity and inclusion training will be November the 18th from 5 to 7. That's a Friday evening. Saturday, November the 19th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That is a total of 5 hours of training that he's doing within 2 days. 2 hours on Friday and 3 hours on Saturday.
Can I get a clarification? Was it 5 to 7 or 6 to 8?
5 to 7.
All right, thank you.
What time was that on Saturday again?
Saturday is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I think I sent you all that with the update. So you have that in your emails. Mhm. Now, the town hall meeting is planned for January 2023, and we will get Sister Winter to give us the dates that's available for her. We try to stay within the weekdays, mostly Thursdays we've been using, Saturday if we don't have a choice but to go that direction. But our town halls have been mostly Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're going to be asking her to give us a date. So anyone else have anything from our subcommittee?
I guess my question is, and I don't want to speak out of turn, violate the ethics ordinance before I even follow it, but are we not going to repeat this exact same stuff at our 7 o'clock meeting?
Part of this voting. So some of what we're discussing is just talking about what things we are concerned about, but we will announce it in our 7 o'clock meeting so that we can vote to change the date. And the change of date would be the 18th and 19th.
Okay. And this was communicated electronically, and we could have read this ahead of time and made better use of our hours.
This was sent to everyone except your email.
Okay.
So everyone had it. Yes.
So being the new commissioner here and sitting in the audience for several months now, I see these same things coming up, and I've listened to these, I've heard these for 4 months now.
Mhm.
And I think there's some major topics that are at a crisis in our community, and we're not even going to be able to get to those because we've spent the first 37 minutes talking on things that we've already done.
Well, one thing that I want you to think about is this commission tabled several items. And when they table them for the next meeting, then we have to address it. Now, how much time we take doing it is because we have to get clarity and also get comments during our pre-meetings. So the pre-meeting is really set up for us to study, to train, and to think things through. The 7 o'clock meeting, which is our regular meeting, we get to vote on these items. So that's why you're probably feeling as though this is redundant, but I assure you, we're trying very hard to get to the major issues that we have for the city. And we will continue to do that, but we have had to wait on others in order to finalize some of this. So please bear with us a little bit. We will get, I promise you, we will be dealing with whatever issues, other issues we can. So if you have something that you'd like to have be on the calendar or on the agenda, please let me know at least 10 days ahead of time because I have to submit it to the city before our meetings, okay?
I wasn't even aware I was a member of this commission until last night at 10 PM. So
I am so
yeah.
sorry. We will have to apologize to you. And I will personally take that as my responsibility to have contacted you in some form. And so if you would accept my apology for not getting to you, I will make sure in the future, because I try to make sure everyone has the same information that I have. And I try not to just do it electronically. I will call you as well if that is something that you would not mind me doing, or I'll text you and tell you to give me a call when it's convenient for you. So we will get off on a better foot next time, if you will allow us to.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry as well.
All right.
Sincerely sorry.
Thank you all for the input. Is there anything further on the calendar or are you ready to move on to the next topic?
We're ready to move on.
Hearing nothing else, I will go on to the committee update on the bylaws. So myself and Commissioner Patton work on that. Because it's election season and things are definitely getting going, we haven't had a whole lot of time to put time into that. We have spoken about it, I think just once within that month, actually. And we were also waiting to hear some opinions from other commissioners. And now that we have Banky, I will be making sure that he gets the information that I'd sent you guys and had presented in a meeting so that he can also have time to put input as well. And hopefully we'll begin addressing that some more, either the next meeting or the November meeting.
I have two comments related to that. Number one, there is no definition for public comment contained within the bylaws. So currently we say it's 5 minutes and that there's only one-way communication. That's not spelled out in our bylaws. Secondly, excused absences, while it gives a list of the fact that there needs to be excused absences both in the city charter and in our bylaws, there's not a definition of how to create an excused absence. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. If you could please send that to me in email as well, I would greatly appreciate it.
I would like to address both of the items that you spoke about. And if you would repeat the first one for me again.
Public comment and a 5-minute time limit.
Actually, what this body did, because it was not part of our setup, we voted in our minutes. So when we vote in our minutes, it becomes part of the record. So in the update of getting the bylaws updated, that would be included at that time. So the bylaws committee will be addressing that and all the things that we've actually voted on in our other meetings. So that a second item was the same situation. We actually voted as a group to include that item. And so the same thing will be true about the bylaws and the update. And our former commissioner, Ashley Cabanas Frank, she was working with it and also giving us some information as to some of the changes that they want to make, but they did not include the things that we have already changed by our vote.
I'd also recommend that the chair of the subcommittee reach out to the city administrator to have the city attorney review the legalities of all of these as well. And the alignment with the city charter.
And that is from the chair instead of the subcommittee. The subcommittee brings it to the commission. And after we talk about it and go through it and present something to the city, the chairman is the person that would take it to the city administrator. They always review everything that we do. And then they give us the okay whether or not it is approved or not. So we just do a proposal or, and that's what it says, proposed bylaws. And when they finalize it and give us approval, then it goes into effect.
I would also like to invite you that since we do still have an opening on the bylaws committee, if you're interested, we'll be happy to have you.
Sign me up. We'll get this done. I've listened to it enough as well.
I'm excited. All right, any further comments on the bylaws committee?
None at this time from me.
All right, then now we will talk about a couple of things that are in our normal meeting, but we didn't manage to do on our last meeting because of a few people missing.
There's
Uh,
comments.
Sorry. Let me know when you would like to meet.
Of
Okay.
course.
Please.
Yep, the bylaws committee, we will be meeting at some point, hopefully with a new member as well. And we'll get working on that. And I will, of course, make sure to let both of you know so we can plan a day that works best for all of us. All right, so a little bit of discussion on the HRC officer election. We still have the positions of treasurer and secretary pro tem vacant, and if anyone is interested, that can be dealt with in the next meeting. But if you have some interest, this would be a good time to voice it so that the rest of the commission is aware. Don't all speak at once.
We have 15 minutes left for our meeting.
I suppose no one is thrilled about those positions, but they do need to be filled. So please take a little bit of time to consider that. And we'll talk about this more in the regular meeting. So we'll talk briefly on what our next possible pre-meeting speaker might be, and of if that is indeed going to be our next meeting or if we need to push that on further. Any discussion on this?
I would suggest that we talk about topics facing the city instead of a meeting speaker.
We can submit this to the subcommittee calendar individuals, and they can come back with specific persons if we'd like to have, or we can just take the rest of the year to do as our study time. This is our time to actually do the study sessions and training and get information that we need to vote on in the regular meeting.
Any further input? All right, I also would kind of like to see us go ahead, since we only have 2 more meetings this year normally, to go and use those as time to get our commission in order and to deal with some business and go about getting some speakers come next year. Any other comments on this?
I completely agree with that. And I just feel like there's not much time left in this year and there's some pressing issues. And this is something that is better maybe when there's not issues. It's the dead of winter. If there could be an issue though, so we may keep putting off having a speaker, but we are the Human Relations Commission, so we need to focus on that. And I feel like a pre-meeting speaker is something, if we don't have things that are pressing at the time.
Anyone else? All right, thank you all very much for your input, and we will be making a vote on this in our next meeting, which of course is only like 10 minutes away. So are there any other topics that we have not gotten to that we should be dealing with from the commission?
Not sure if it's under old business or new business or reintroduced business, but at the last meeting, there were two resolutions that were introduced by then Commissioner Kavasis Frank. Those, I don't see them on the agenda at all under old business or new business. And if they need to be reintroduced, I'd be happy to sponsor those and reintroduce them. Yes, I've received copies of them.
Okay, so if everybody has had them, I think Commissioner Frank, at the time, she did give us the updated versions of the proposals, and we can put it on the docket for next, our next pre-meeting.
So it won't be on this, I heard it was supposed to be this pre-meeting. Last month, that's what the,
It
that's
was
what your comment,
tabled.
that's what your comments were. It was tabled, and the tabled resolution is to be acted upon at the next meeting. This is the next meeting.
The actual meeting, the resolutions were not presented at the last meeting. It was tabled. She gave them out to us, but we did not have discussion on them.
In a tabled, any item that's tabled will be heard and considered at the next meeting. And this is the next meeting.
This is the next meeting, and we can put it on the regular meeting if you want to add it to the 7 o'clock meeting.
I would have appreciated pre-meeting discussion so that we could have.
We have
as-
5 minutes if we would like to do that, but then they have to be read. So if we want to read them, Commissioner,
I have fully read them as a new commissioner with these in my hands less than 24 hours. I'm ready to talk about these in my full capacity. If anyone has any questions about these for me, I'd be happy to entertain them.
actually, in order to do a resolution, we have to read the resolution in the group. And so if you're ready to read the first resolution, then we're open to hear the resolution. And then we'll have a discussion on that part. Then we'll go to the second resolution, because it's only 2 resolutions. So everybody is not up on those resolutions. Have you all read all of them? Has everyone read them?
I'm
Okay,
seeing nods from everyone that they've been read.
okay, so let's read them and talk about them and go forward, okay? We have 9 minutes left in this meeting. Can we have our secretary? Would you like to read the first resolution, please?
Would we like to either allow
I-
bank aid?
Can I have one of our commissioners, if they would read it, because I don't have it right in front of me.
Could we inquire either bank aid to do it or myself?
Yes, you can.
Do you have a preference?
I
Okay.
can read.
Resolution 1.
Resolution to support the city of Adrian to fly ceremonial flags for Black History Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, LGBTQIA+ Pride Month, Juneteenth, Hispanic Awareness Month. Whereas the Human Relations Commission for the City of Adrian has a mission to actively promote and respect the human rights and cultural diversity, to foster self-respect and understanding, and promote amicable relations among all Adrian residents. And whereas the Human Relations Commission for the City of Adrian has the objective to be a catalyst for open discussion and problem solving regarding issues of human rights. Whereas Human Relations Commission for the City of Adrian has the objective to work towards the establishment to of a sense of belonging for all members of the community, whereas there is a rich history of the Underground Railroad and abolitionist movement, including the welcoming of anti-slavery activists like Frederick Douglass during the city of Adrian's early years. Whereas the Hispanic community has made significant contributions to Lenawee County and the city of Adrian in areas of civic engagement, artistic influence, cultural importance, and business accomplishment. Whereas there's an active, involved, and engaged NAACP chapter that yearly recognizes the accomplishments of the community while supporting community engagement and student scholarships. Whereas the city of Adrian has passed ordinances to protect against the discrimination against sexual orientation, gender identity, and HIV status. Whereas mental health of our residents is important as we move forward during difficult times, and understanding the impact of trauma has upon individuals and their mental health is essential to providing supports for neighbors and residents of the city of Adrian. Whereas the city of Adrian has previously publicly flown flags to celebrate and recognize various minority, marginalized, and underrepresented groups in an effort to celebrate the rich diversity and differences within the city. Whereas by protecting the rights of every individual, we enhance and strengthen the value of everyone throughout our entire society. Whereas we affirm our support of Black, LGBTQAI+, Hispanic, and those residents experiencing mental health challenges in our community, and stand with them to protect their civil rights and their ability to live openly, equally, and without fear. And now, therefore, it be resolved by the Human Relations Commission for the city of Adrian on this 27th day of September, that this commission officially requests the city commission and city administration restore public flying of flags to recognize important cultural and diverse groups and populations. This would include Black History Month, in February, Mental Health Awareness Month, in May, LGBTQAI plus Pride Month in June, Juneteenth on June 19th, Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th through October 15th.
Discussion on the resolution. You said you had some comments you wanted to make on this resolution.
Fully support.
Any other comments?
I have a couple of small comments, so. Just to clarify, for all of the ones that are mentioned, there are indeed flags for them, like, because I know some of them have actual, what's the term? Not organizational, but like flags that have been chosen, kind of like LGBTQIA+. And some are just aren't as specific. So do we know for sure on these?
I think this resolution moves this forward to the commission and to the city administration. From that, in the instances where there would not be a flag, such as Hispanic Awareness Month, there are multiple ways that you could approach that. We understand that the past practice was a violation of the flag code. If you drive past Adrian High School, they have their three main flags, and then they've lined their entrance to the high school with every flag of Hispanic heritage. We could also go to the schools. Some of this could get kicked back to the committee, go to the schools, work with our arts community, and design our own local Hispanic Heritage Month flag. I am unfamiliar with Juneteenth, if there's an official flag for that. And then the same thing with Mental Health Awareness Month. I do know that the previous Miss River Raisin did provide semicolon flags throughout the community as well, if that's something that was continued to be embraced.
Thank you for that clarification.
I have a comment. I think we could take the bottom sentence out. This would include Black History Month. You don't need all of that in order to say what you want to say. And we can move it forward in that way, because some of them do not have flags. And we were talking about flags being flown in this resolution. So the resolution doesn't have to stop. It just needs to be clarified. Just take that last sentence. This would include Black History Month, February. All of that can come out. Now, since we're not the authors of this, the committee will have to make a decision because she's no longer on this commission. And we would have to change that since we did not submit it. Can we do that?
That would go forward in the next meeting when this would be voted on.
Yes, it can.
Um,
So the resolution would take out
well, so
the last sentence.
my resolution will include the full resolution. If you wish to amend what's there, I welcome you to use the process to amend that.
I will. And the amendment is because these groups do not all have flags. If we want to talk about us possibly having it in the future, we could possibly have a flag in the future for some of these. But instead of identifying these particular ones, it would be better. And I think I did talk to the commissioner when she presented this to let her know that that was my thought before. So if we could do that in the next meeting.
I think it's best to have it set so that I do see flags coming for some of those where there may not be a flag like Juneteenth. And so I do see that coming. And so I think it needs to be set that way, but just worded so that it's not, since they don't
That's
have
what
a
I'm
flag.
saying.
Yep.
It does say for diverse groups and populations. So that does cover that as far as I can see. So we can do the amendment at the next meeting. Our time is almost up for this meeting. We have 1 minute left and we still have to finish the agenda with public comment, even if we don't have comment. So if you would allow us to, we can take this discussion into the next meeting as part of our
I have a question.
regular agenda. And that would give you the opportunity to do the second.
Okay. I have a
President.
question.
Yes.
I guess I would like to see some definition to the word important. For flying the flags to recognize important, what classifies as important?
So
And I think
we,
if we take out the last sentence, then I think there could be some discrepancy with that word.
okay,
I agree.
Mhm, mhm.
all right. Can we
I also-
agree? We have to stop this meeting to go forward to the next meeting. We can move this part of the agenda up on the agenda. I can do that in discussion, but we have to finish this meeting and go to the next.
From my understanding, though it is not ideal, and we must have public comment before we end this
Yes,
meeting.
you do.
If we need to have an extra 5 minutes so that he can say this other resolution so that we can have a proper understanding, I think that is allowable. As I believe he wanted to bring 2 resolutions to our attention. And it wouldn't be fair for us to tell him, oh, only leave it halfway done and
We can
then go
bring
from
the
there. So I
resolution.
think that we should give him a chance to speak it.
And we do that at regular city commission meetings when things run over from the pre-meeting and in order to allow, I mean, it's not the ideal situation, but people are typically already on, or if they come on, they're going to hear our pre-meeting. If they were coming on at 7, it's okay, because we do it a lot too.
Okay,
Uh,
but we're going to have a discussion about both resolutions in the next meeting. He can still present in the next meeting. And I'm going to move the agenda so that it can be done first. So you don't have to hold the meeting in order to have it done.
But I thought the purpose of a pre-meeting was to have discussion.
Mhm.
But you're not going to have discussion. If you read the next agenda, we won't be able to finish discussion.
It took us less than 10 minutes to discuss the previous one. The longer we take arguing it, the longer it take. If we gave him 8 minutes now, we could be done with it about as quickly as we were with the first one. It would not be full discussion, but would at least get started and have some understanding.
I call for order.
I would go back to the open meeting minutes and the open meetings.
I called for order. So that means that the discussion stops. I have to change. I know we said 5 minutes is 2 minutes after the hour. We can go into the regular meeting and have discussion as well, and we don't have a time limit. Our 7 o'clock meeting starts at 7, and we're beyond that now. We still have to finish the agenda with public comment, and you can hold your commission comments and announcements and adjourn the meeting. Yes.
Am I recognized? Am I
You are.
recognized? Let's say that the meeting that not have a requirement for our next meeting to start at 7, PM. The Open Meetings Act requirement is that the meeting is posted and the meeting cannot start before set at 4. Therefore, if a pre-meeting extends and runs over, this is allowable. If needed, I think I heard Commissioner Ramos indicating that he was about to make a motion to extend this meeting so we could have discussion.
Yes, I would like to motion to extend the meeting for another 10 minutes.
Support.
You have to, you can't vote on it.
Yeah,
You
we
have
can't
to have
vote on
common
the
consent,
discussion.
something. You can't have a vote. You can't have a vote during the pre-meeting. So
have-
again, I would say, let's put the meeting in order and let's move forward into the next meeting. We have as much time as you need. We don't have a limit of how long we can have our 7 o'clock meeting. And we can have discussion and we can have a vote at that time. The pre-meeting is not the only place we can have discussion. So I'm going to ask our vice chair if he would move the meeting to go because you didn't get consent, that you do the public comment, and then you can close out without commissioner comments.
Well, you already know my opinion on this, but we'll go ahead and continue forward if I'm not going to hear anything else at this moment. And again, we can have an extended pre-meeting, but we'll move forward. So we will hear public comments. So those who are in, first we'll hear from those in person, and then we'll move on to Zoom. This is a time for the public to speak. Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Hello, Ashley Cavazos Frank, 141.5 South Main Street. Well, let me pull up my notes here. I just had a question on the ethics thingy that we talked. Oh, I have my mask and I can't do my face. Anyway, so ethics code and values code violations, how are those reported? Like, is that something that there's a form? Is it reported to a specific commission, or is it the city polices itself? Is it something that citizens, if they witness or experience unethical contacts with a city employee or a commissioner about some kind, like where would that be reported?
We can't answer you. It's public comment.
Can't
Sorry.
respond to your question.
Okay. And
we
I
just
think
have
that
to
was,
hear
it
you.
was just basically like, is there a system? Is there a form online available? Is it you go to a specific person? What if it's that person? Is there a chain of command? Something like that.
Thank you. Any further public comments in person first? All right, any public comments on Zoom? All right. Hearing none, I will take us to commissioner comments. Are there any comments to be spoken before we move on?
I will address that in the next meeting. Because there's a committee, there's an ethics committee. I'll address it.
All right, thank you. Any further commissioner comments? All right, any announcements? All right, sounds like we'll deal with those in the next meeting. So we're now hearing motion to adjourn. Adjourn our pre-meeting, of course.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, I believe this is a common consent vote.
Yep.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, meeting adjourned at 7:08 PM. And I believe that we will begin our next meeting at 7:13 PM.
Good evening, everyone. The Human Relations Commission meeting session is open to the public who is invited to attend at this time. We will have the roll call, pledge of allegiance, and a moment of silence at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Present.
Commissioner Boone,
Present.
Commissioner Ramos,
Present.
Mayor Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yeah, present.
and Commissioner Harvett,
Present.
and Commissioner Patton, present.
The minutes, we'd like to have the minutes approved as read with necessary corrections. Everyone did not receive the minutes. Or did everyone receive the minutes? I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I believe all the commissioners did get to see them, though some of them much briefer than others. I will motion to approve them with the necessary corrections.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvett,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes.
Any additions to the regular agenda today?
Under discussion, other items as time permits, if we could add FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests.
All right,
I will second the motion to add to the agenda.
roll call vote, please.
Mayor, excuse me, Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvett,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes.
All right. Treasury report.
There hasn't been any changes to the Treasury Report.
Thank you. Old business.
We didn't motion to approve the regular agenda because we just changed it. We just
We
approved.
motioned.
That was to make changes to the
Okay, so
agenda.
let's acknowledge the change to the agenda. And the secretary tell us the change to the agenda, and then we will approve the regular agenda. The change,
I believe that was to add FOIA to the discussion period. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. I will motion to approve the agenda as edited.
Second,
roll call vote, please.
Mayor Banky? Or,
My
Ooh,
husband
I
won't
want a
let me run.
promotion.
Commissioner Banky, yes.
Commission,
Lisa Canal-Scott,
yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
I would like to be mayor, but yes, I will vote in favor.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvitt.
Yes.
All right. Old business, current HRC issues and updates. We're going to change the regular schedule and move the agenda to part of the discussion we were having in the pre-meeting about the resolutions. And we will also present a second resolution, and we will have our discussion at this time. You want to read the second resolution for us, please? Commissioner Ramos?
Oh, sure, I can. Give me just a moment. Because I don't have a paper copy. I need to pull my electronic copy again. Oh, I'm a little slow. I guess I get a paper copy to use. Okay. All right, well then I will now be your voice, I guess. All right, so this resolution here is a resolution of support for the city of Adrian to prohibit imagery associated with hate groups recognized by the Southern Poverty Law Center, federal government on city property at official city events. I guess I should move this out of the way of my microphone. That might make it easier. Whereas the Human Relations Commission for the City of Adrian has a mission to actively promote respect for human rights and cultural diversity, to foster mutual self-respect and understanding, and promote amicable relations among all Adrian residents. Whereas the Human Relations Commission for the City of Adrian has the objective to be a catalyst for open discussion and problem solving regarding issues of human rights. Whereas to eliminate prejudice and discrimination instrumentality and instrumentality of government should be established through which the citizens of the city may be informed of developments in human relations, from which the mayor, city commission, and city administrator may obtain advice, assistance in adopting such measures to keep peace and good order and harmony among the citizens of the city, and to bring about and maintain harmony and avoid intergroup tensions, and to promote tolerance and goodwill and the ensured equality of treatment and opportunity to all persons regardless of race, color, creed, national origin, or ancestry, sex, age, height, weight, familiar status, or physical limitation. Whereas the community lost citizens in the global conflicts against fascism, one sec. Whereas the community lost citizens in global conflicts against fascism and cultural genocide in World War I and II. Whereas the diversity of our community is one of our greatest assets. Whereas there is an active, involved, and engaged NAACP chapter that yearly recognizes the accomplishments of the community while also supporting community engagement and student scholarships. Whereas the city of Adrian has passed ordinances to protect against discrimination based on race, color, creed, or national origin. Whereas the city of Adrian has previously publicly flown flags to celebrate, recognize various minority, marginalized, and underrepresented groups in effort to celebrate the rich diversity and differences within the city. Whereas by protecting the psychological and physical safety of all citizens, we build a stronger community. Whereas we affirm our support for Black, LGBTQAI+, Hispanic, and those residents that are historically the targets of hate crimes, and stand with them to protect their civil rights and their ability to live openly, equally, without fear. And now therefore be it resolved by the Human Relations Commission of the City of Adrian on this day, the 27th of September, 2022, that this commission officially requests the city commission and city administration ban the display of imagery affiliated with hate groups recognized by the Southern Poverty Law Center and the federal government of the United States from city property and any official city events.
All right, we had the reading of the resolution, Resolution 1 and Resolution 2. We're going to have a few minutes of discussion at this time. I'm open for discussion of these resolutions.
I'm definitely happy to see in the resolution that we do have a fairly solid definition so that we can work on that much easier. And I have a lot of thoughts. I'm still trying to rehydrate. Give me just a moment.
My discussion associated with this, again, is for the rest of the commissioners here, is that the resolution that was written by our previous commissioner basically says that we support kind of kicking this up the street so that this then becomes a discussion point for the city administration and for the commission to move forward. So I would see this as a pre-meeting topic for them, or at least, some work for the city administrator to see what other cities have chosen to ban hate symbols from both the Southern Poverty Law Center and from that. While we would move forward with the potential approval today as a resolution, I'm not familiar with the group's passage of resolutions in the past, but then this would kick it up for the commission to do the work. It would potentially come back to us to say, are there other things to consider, kind of like with the flags? How do we create a Juneteenth flag or Hispanic Heritage Month flag, or do we find one? So I think this is kind of like, here's our intent to say, these are important things from the Human Relations Commission, and we want the city administration and the city commission to understand our perspective. Obviously, they get to make the sausage too and make changes.
Others, comments, questions, concerns?
I would support what Commissioner Benke said. Aside from the details of it, which might need to be polished a bit, it's important that the message is sent to the city of what our stance is as a commission. And this sends a strong message. So I really do support both of those resolutions. Again, they might need to be polished, but it does make a statement. It stands also for who we are as a commission. And that's important for the city to know.
Anyone else making comments before I speak?
Is this on both resolutions or
Both.
just this one?
She was talking about both of them. He just read the second resolution. We read the first one in the pre-meeting. So now our discussion would be about both of them. And what I would like us to do is to take time to redo both resolutions in terms of wording. And I would like to get with the initiator of the resolutions in order to do clarification and get the information and shorten it because it actually says a lot and it's important for us to move it forward. But it also is very important that we say it in a way that they can address it a little bit different. We don't need 2 pages for the first one because it actually says a lot. And I really do appreciate her input and also the resolutions. But I do think that we need to have someone else to also look at it with her and try to get it in the wording that we could present to the city commission.
Yes, because I would like to just suggest on the first resolution that it does say Hispanic heritage throughout, because that is what that month is called. So I just want to clarify that. But yes, anything that wording wise, just to go along with Chair Bernard is saying, that we can make it, I don't know how to say this, less wordy, easy to understand, more open for discussion and thought when it gets to the city commission level. And I would like to see at that point that we have, obviously, the whole HRC or at least a few, presenting it when it would come to that pre-meeting, but just to make sure that the wording is such as, just like Commissioner Binky said, whether it is that we create a Hispanic heritage flag so that it can be flown, out back with the other flags, whether it's we create a Juneteenth or, give those options, because I think right now there's been a very set, like, well, we can't do that. And then I've suggested, I know some other people have suggested, and things have been like, nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. That's not how we're doing it. We're not doing it. And so I think we need that open-mindedness. And so I think if we can come in with something where it's like, hey, here's some, leaving it a little bit more open so that there can be that discussion and a very good discussion about it and what those options can look like, and whether it be, creating that, those flags so that all the flags could be back, with those 3, or whether it is, putting the flags in a different area. I've suggested 3 and they've all been shot down, but I'm still trying. But, maybe it is, something just to point out, just like Commissioner Binky said, like what Adrian High School did. And even for like this month, they were displaying it in a banner style, and they had all of the countries, there in that banner style in a different area, not necessarily flying next to that American flag. Just thinking outside the box, but like presenting it that way, that there's a lot of options, and presenting that resolution as such so that there's that open-endedness so that solutions can be found. Sorry for being wordy, but I didn't know how to say that.
It's okay. Other discussion? Comments? I'd just like to say I appreciate so much the resolutions that former Commissioner Frank gave to us, because it does address the issues that we would like the city commission to deal with. But I still believe that we should actually get with her and actually put it in the format that would be easiest for them to not only read, but accept the way we send it to them. So what I would like us to do is to think about that, or we can go on and move it exactly like it is. Except for I'd like to make an amendment to the first resolution to exclude in the last paragraph, which it says, now therefore be it resolved by the Human Relations Commission of the City of Adrian on this 27th day of September 2022, that this commission officially requests the city commission and city administrator restore the public flying of flags to recognize, instead of important, take out the word important, recognize cultural and diverse groups and populations, and end it there. Taking out this would include. And so we don't forget that we have other groups that we may not have included in this particular resolution. I've discussed it with the author as well, and I would like to finalize it with her, along with our commissioners that are willing to work with her to get it back into the wording that it should be.
Commissioner Bernard, you're making an amendment to a topic that hasn't been introduced.
I'm saying I would like to make a recommendation to amend it. This is what I was reading to let you know what part of it that I would like to amend. I
You-
haven't formally amended it.
Okay. I would say that you're making two amendments. One is you're striking the word important, and the other that you're striking, this would include Black History Month in the list. I would suggest that you break those out so that the commission can vote on those independently, as some may wish to remove important, while others may wish to include that list, which is not inclusive, which says would include other groups also could be added to that. As the mayor suggested at the last meeting, alignment with the full month.
Again, we don't need an amendment if we talk with the author and have a couple of our commissioners to work with her to reword both resolutions. And then-
I'm comfortable at this point to make a motion, so to adopt the resolution, and we shall go through the sausage making process to see if it will go back to the former author or whether it would go forward as written with potential amendments tonight. I trust that the city commission is intelligent enough to read the depth of this and understand this. And if they seek our counsel, as will be available to them, as well as with former Commissioner Kovasis, Frank, that we would make ourselves available to them.
And I would highly suggest that that everyone is at, or at least the vast majority are at that pre-meeting, just to present. This is something where if, you know, there's something coming forward from the HRC, this would be just like if there was something coming forward from the DDA chair and members of the DDA come and present at the pre-meeting to the city commission. It's the same thing. It would be the same way. I really, I feel,
Excuse me.
I feel like instead of just giving them the document, like really explaining and really having that discussion, since pre-meeting is that time to have those deep discussions, because otherwise in a regular meeting, they can't happen when it comes to the city commission. So that's why, and I know the DDA has brought several things before, and several of them have come, and so that those discussions can happen and there can be clarity.
Is there any more discussion on these two resolutions?
Just a suggestion, in the language for the first resolution, instead of striking the last sentence, perhaps adding the wording, this would include but not be limited to.
Can we
idea.
also say that if there is other discussion, that you discuss it with the group and let us decide we're going to move it forward if there's no other discussion? I personally like to present people something that is in the right format. I'm asking our group to take a look at that. We have a very lengthy resolution, both of which can be shortened and more direct. That is our desire to do, to present something that, yes, we're all intelligent, but we still have to present something that looks like what it should be coming from us. My character is not in place. My intellect is not in place, whether I agree or disagree with resolutions. But what I would like us to do, if you want to move forward, we can vote on it at this point with a resolution with giving the motion to move it forward. So I will accept a motion at this time, if that's what we want to do, or I will accept a motion to get clarity and get more information and resolve the two resolutions by rewording it or correcting whatever needs to be corrected. So I'm open for the resolution motion.
I move that the resolution to support for the city of Adrian to fly ceremonial flags for Black History Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, and LGBTQAI Pride Month, Juneteenth, and Hispanic Awareness Month move forward as presented with two adjustments. One, that in the last paragraph, the word important is struck. And in the last sentence, it would be amended to say this would include and add the addition, but not limited to, as part of the resolution to move that forward as written.
Would you be open to also amending it to say Hispanic Heritage Month instead of awareness?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
With the noted adjustments, I would second it.
Motion set and second. Are you ready for the question and the vote? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Banky,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
No.
Commissioner Harbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, abstain.
Second resolution. Open for a motion on the second resolution. If I'm not hearing a motion,
I will motion to approve the second resolution.
second the motion. Do
A
I hear-
second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banky,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes.
All right, the resolutions have been taken care of, and what we will do, we will put it in the typewritten form that it is to present to the city. And I will finalize that to include the corrections that you made, and would you state them again, please, so that I can write it down? The inclusion of,
We eliminated the word important.
yes,
We included in the last sentence, this would include, but not limited to. So we added, but not limited to. And then Mayor, you had a great, great comment.
It's Hispanic heritage instead of awareness.
okay, so the flags are putting the month. You use the word month. Are we striking the word month?
It's Hispanic Heritage Month. That's what it's called. It's at the very beginning too. If you look at the very
Yes.
beginning of the resolution. Yeah. It's in a couple places. Yeah.
Okay.
And how, I guess one of my questions then, Chair Bernard, after that is, will you be sending that to the city administrator? Or, it doesn't matter how you want to do it. I'm just asking because the city administrator and myself set the agendas. It doesn't mean that I get to really have a say of when things are going to be on, because a lot of times there's a very long list in Michelle's office of what's on pre-meetings. Of recent, there hasn't been as long of a list, but sometimes it can be the next meeting, sometimes it can't be. It might be a few meetings out, just dependent upon what needs to be discussed in a pre-meeting. So I guess I would just suggest that those corrections, and then they're sent in right away to the, and in requesting to the city administrator that you want time at a pre-meeting to discuss that in the very near future. And that would be my suggestion, to make sure that that happens and then send that in, because then that's something that the city administrator will send out to the commissioners prior to that meeting so that they do have time to digest it. Because if there's one thing that the city commissioners do not enjoy, nor myself, is getting blasted with something that we had not seen until the city commission meeting, because we can't even digest it or even ask appropriate questions because we haven't seen it before we get to the meeting. So that's why I would say make sure that it is in the hands of the city administrator once that's done, so that it does get to their hands in plenty of time before that meeting. And that it is on the agenda list, because there tends to be a long list for pre-meeting discussion items.
All right, so noted. All right, our next item is the election of a treasurer or secretary pro tem. Do we have someone that is willing to take those office and we vote on that person? Commissioner Boone, you held that position. Would you consent to continue?
You mean as treasurer for him, correct?
Treasurer, yes.
Yes.
Is there anyone else that would like to take the position of the treasurer before we vote on his confirmation? Hearing no others, I'd like a roll call vote to consent to vote on the treasurer's position for Commissioner Boone. I need a vote, roll call, vote.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinckney, yes.
All right, so we have voted you back in. Thank you for taking that position. We're gonna put you to work, though. All right, the secretary pro tem. The secretary pro tem is the one that has been assisting the secretary in her duties when she's not available, also helping to do the roll call votes when we do them. And we're asking someone to help assist our secretary by being the secretary pro tem when she's absent or unavailable. Do I have someone that's willing to take that position? Hearing none. Shaking your heads, huh?
You can never go missing.
Commissioner, are you considering it?
I really wasn't. So.
Well, okay, well, we can actually table it until the next meeting, give you time to think about it. We do have the ability to continue right now. So if that's all right with everyone, we will table the Secretary Pro Tem position until the next meeting. I need consent.
I move we table the Secretary Pro Tem election until next month.
I'll second the motion. Give you guys some time to think. I already hold an office.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banky,
Aye.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harbit,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes.
All right, our next agenda item is the bylaws review. We were able to have somewhat of a discussion about it in the pre-meeting. And at this time, our subcommittee is wanting to do more information and putting more information on the bylaws so that you can give us a presentation on the next meeting, or you want a couple of months?
We will need at least until next month to have something finalized. We might take long depending upon how energetic we are, but we are going to continue to work on that. Most of the updates were given in the previous meeting, though I would like to make a motion to add Commissioner Banky to the Bylaws Committee.
I second that.
Do you accept?
Yes.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harbit,
Yes.
All right, our new member of the the Bylaws Commission is subcommittee rather, is Commissioner Banky.
Welcome,
Thank you so
Banky.
much for
Thank you.
volunteering to be a part of that.
Welcome
right.
to the committee. We look forward to working with you and we will be in contact very soon.
Great.
All right, as you set up your next meeting, please keep me posted on how you all are making out.
Of
as well.
course.
Training, we already have talked about the training for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also the trauma training. The trauma training is set for October 15th. If you have any problems or anyone in the city that would like to be a part of that, please let's keep that posted. I did send notices to the city administrator to let him know exactly what we will be doing. And he's going to invite the department heads. As far as the diversity, equity, and inclusion, we need to vote on the change of date from November the 4th and 5th to November the 18th and 19th. So I need a motion at this time. I would entertain motion for the change.
I will make the mentioned motion of the change of dates from the 4th and 5th to the 18th and 19th.
Support Commissioner Banky.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banky,
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Harbit,
Yes.
Thank you. We were talking in the pre-meeting about planning the next pre-meeting and regular meeting for speakers. And I want to have us vote on not having any speakers for the rest of the year, and we wait until the first part of next year. So open for a vote for the pre-meeting speakers, no pre-meeting speakers.
Commissioner Ramos, I motion for us to not have pre-meeting speakers until next year.
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banky,
Aye.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Present, yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Harvick.
Yes.
All right, we talked about the trauma training and the date, and the time is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Just put that on your notations, so we don't have to have any more discussion, or you all are available at that time. Please make sure that you let me know if there's any changes and you're not able to attend, because we have to pay for each person. The next town hall meeting, we're talking about human trafficking. In our discussion, we plan to try to work towards having it in January 2023. We had already voted to have it in November. I need a motion to change it to go to January 2023. And we will consult the sister that is going to be doing that about what dates would be most available. And we will get back to you on the exact date, but we'd like to change it to January 2023.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
I second.
It's been moved and second already.
Who was first? I'm sorry. I didn't-
Banky.
I was,
Commissioner Banky,
Okay. I'm sorry.
and then the second was Commissioner Ramos.
Me.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banky,
yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton, yes. Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvick.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Are there any other old business that I haven't included that we have time for? Hearing none, we'd like to go to our new business, our new member. We'd like to welcome Commissioner Robert Benke to be on our city commission, HRC. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and be with us and help us get a lot more accomplished. Your reputation precedes you, and we say thank you to you for being a part of us.
Great, thank you. Just a few comments to the rest of the commission, because as I've sat out in the audience the last 4 months, you may have not wanted me sitting on the backside of this here. What I will say is that my time as essentially the CEO of the second largest employer of within the city of Adrian, worked extensively with Commissioner Boone in various roles, and diversity, equity, inclusion is near and dear to my heart. And as there's been a number of issues that surfaced around the state related to the state's inability to distribute monkeypox virus vaccines to gay men, to suicides here in the city of Adrian by young gay men, that has encouraged me to step up and speak out on behalf of a community that is often silenced. And I appreciate the opportunity to serve.
Well, we thank you. Anyone else have a comment for our new commissioner?
We are happy to have you here, Banky. I look forward to working with you, and I'm glad that I already got you to work on something we'll be talking about more soon. Great first day. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Others? All right. We appreciate you.
Welcome to the team.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you for taking this role.
Okay. Any other discussions?
We had the FOIA discussion as a topic here.
Mhm.
And really the concern that I have with FOIA that I want to make sure that the rest of my commissioners are fully aware of is the fact that just a few areas, I think a training related to FOIA would be very important in that all of the commissioners outside of the mayor use their personal email addresses. And all of the emails that you send and receive to any commissioner or send or receive from any member of the public, whether that's through your personal email, whether that's Facebook Messenger, whether that's text, those are all subject to FOIA. So as the president of the district library, one of the things that was very important to me and to our commissioners on the library board was that we had city library email addresses so that when individuals emailed us and we communicated to each other, if there was a FOIA request, then that FOIA request took place from the library administrator, and we complied and fulfilled our obligations that way and protected all of the commissioners from needless legal issues. As a result of how we are currently set up right now and the fact that Commissioner Ramos forwarded me those emails. Now my personal email is subject to FOIA, and I would choose not to open that door. Texts between you and a commissioner, if they're related to HRC, are subject to FOIA as well. And in as so much that our school district lawyer had made mention that when there was a FOIA case that involved him, they actually secured the cell phones and computers with the court to make sure that the individual is complying to that. I don't think you or me want to go through that. And I think that the commission needs to think about that as an opportunity, not only for this group, but all the other groups as well. Because when you submit a FOIA request that says, I want all communication sent from Bob Benke to Commissioner Ramos, the city needs to reply. Well, if they don't have our personal emails, then we need to do all that work and submit it for them. Where if we were using city emails, they could go in and they could pull all that stuff. And trust me, that I've had that done as the superintendent. I had someone that requested, which was the equivalent of 32,000 pages of emails, which they did not because they had to pay for them, ended up not doing that, but there was that request. And I think, again, my knowledge in that area, this is one thing that I want to do to at least help protect you. And maybe the mayor can take that back and talk with the city administrator about that moving forward.
Thank you for the information. I have actually heard something to that effect before. So I'm really happy to hear you bring it up to everyone's attention. And I think it'll be a great idea.
Mayor Heath, you had comments? Oh, okay. All right. Anyone else have any comments about the FOIA information? Thank you so much for the information, and we can move forward on that by requesting more information from the lawyer. We can have him come maybe to.
Well, I will try to find out if we can have city emails. I feel like Planning Commission asked and they had them set up just extra personal emails, but I don't know. I will find out on that because that has concerned me as well. That is one reason why I won't respond to something that comes to my personal, if it does, because that does happen to even to me, and I will not respond at all to that for that reason. If it's about city business, if it's not about city business, then I will. But if it's my city email, that is the reason why I will respond through my city email, because I've been FOIA'd several times since being mayor, and I don't have to do anything because they can pull everything up through the computer system. I have to do nothing, which is very helpful. The only thing I do have to do is I do have to submit any communication between me and whoever is named in the FOIA. And I mean, I've had to do that, and even though it is personal, it wouldn't even be anything city related. I've submitted that, and then they've immediately just thrown it out because it wasn't anything city related. But that is something to be very, very careful about. And yes, I will bring that up and try to find out. I have a meeting with the city administrator tomorrow anyways. So I will bring that up and see if that's a possibility, or at least some other way, because that has always concerned me as well. And just as a reminder to go along with that, I know the former city attorney, she had a meeting with us when we first, when a lot of you joined, and we had some refreshers. Just please do not hit reply all. There's a lot of things to be careful of, but reply all is one of them. So just to reiterate that as well, because I've seen that happen a few times. We can't have quorum and like quorum discussions going on. So if you just got to remember that you can't have that many people. The same thing happens when it is the city commission members and myself. We were at a county meeting and I walked in and there were already 3 of them there. We all sat about as far away as you could get from each other and never talked to each other, because that way there was no perception that anything went on, because nothing did go on. We literally made sure everybody was well aware that we're going to run into each other at First Friday all together or at a different event. Just do not talk about city business. If there are more than 4 of you standing there, do not talk about city business. You can talk about the weather. I don't care what you talk about, but do not talk about city business. But honestly, just to avoid that perception in general and just to avoid problems in your life, try to not even be around a quorum in general. Like that, we avoid it to no end. For that reason, even at the city commission level. And I know a lot of the other ones do as well. So, when we have like the trainings, that's different. Those are going to be city events put on by HRC. That's a little different. There can be a quorum there, but just keep those things in mind as well. But I will try to find out about that, because I will tell you, it's great when I don't have to go back and check any emails, because the city can just go boop and check them all and I don't have to worry about it. So, that's been a saving thing for me for sure, but just, don't group text in a quorum. It's the same thing. It's going to be the same problem. So just anything, it doesn't matter. Just like Commissioner Benke said, it can be a Facebook Messenger. It can be anything like that. Just be very, be overcautious. Just be, you have to be very careful in today's time, and especially just because of the position that you hold.
And I would say that I've been subject to baiting, where someone will bait you and engage in a Facebook Messenger conversation, which is not the official thing. And then you get a FOIA request. And then it's like, oh, well, and then there's also, the preparation of the Facebook Messenger needs to be included in that. One last thing related to mobile communication and cell phones. We all love and our cell phones near and dear, and email. But when another piece of advice is when you're sitting on this side of the table, if you receive a text, that is a violation of the Open Meetings Act. If you're communicating with an individual related to public input that the public here doesn't have at the time, and you're reading or communicating back and forth with an individual. So again, that thing that a lot of people, I'm a paper person, so people don't see me using my phone thinking that I'm texting. but I kill a lot of trees. And, but that's, one thing that I'd like, you all to be aware of so that you're protecting yourself from, the appearance that you're texting or communicating with other people during, an open meetings, and making sure that we're not in violation of that.
And that just recently happened to me at a meeting. I was a participant, I was not at the front, was sitting in the crowd, but there did happen to be a quorum there, but we were all spread out. My daughter was having a problem at the time and was texting me, and I was texting her back, but because they saw me on my phone, we all got FOIA'd. They found nothing because I wasn't talking to anybody. I was talking to my daughter, which was fine because then it proved it. But just to Commissioner Binky's point, that's why I got FOIA'd, because they saw me on my phone in the meeting and I was in the public, but it's because a quorum was there and they were just convinced that the quorum was discussing, which we weren't. And it was proven immediately to not be the case, but because we're all smarter than that and know not to do that. But yes, keep that in mind at all times as well. So to prove his point right there, it happened to me recently.
Okay, good information. All right, no other discussion on the FOIA? All right, at this time, we have public comments, and the comments are 5-minute limit. We will open the floor to the individuals on Zoom. You have something you would like to say? We need your name and address. Hearing no comments on Zoom, we open it to the. You are open to make comments at this time. Remember, your limit is 5 minutes. Name and address.
I'll try to keep it to 5 minutes. Gordon Gauss, 432 State Street in Adrian. A couple of things that I want to mention tonight. First of all, of course, as a city commissioner, I get calls and emails and text messages from all kinds of citizens. Most recently, I got a request or information about a concern that the minutes from last month's meeting were not posted on a timely basis. As of 10 days ago, those minutes had not been posted on the city website. And, you know, when we have a city commission meeting, it's a legal requirement for the city clerk to have those published by the following Monday. So she's got a couple of days to get that done, to submit it to the the lead times that the Telegram has, and they have to be published. I don't think it's unrealistic to expect that the commission's minutes be submitted within 10 days after your meeting, but I'd like to see that happen a little bit more quickly so that I'm not getting the calls from people asking where the hell's the minutes. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to talk about is, while I commend the commission, the HRC, for all the work they do, sponsoring events like the trauma, the DEI events, and I think those are great. What I would really like to see you do is pay attention to what the city commission is doing, because I rely and look to the HRC to be an advisory group to the city commission to call our attention to issues that we may not be considering. Right now on our table, were presented last week with a fee schedule for parades and street closures and all of those kinds of things. And whether intended or unintended, I feel that some of those could be concluded to be discriminatory. I think that asking certain groups that don't have 1,000 people, excluding them from having the ability to close off a block downtown, like Juneteenth, like the Pride events, like the Cinco de Mayo celebrations, I just don't think it's right. And I can't support any of those items coming before the city commission. I want to see this community, and I feel very strongly, as I know members of this commission feel, I think that we have to be inclusive, not exclusive. And so I would really look to this commission to pay attention to the things that are coming on our agenda and really thoughtfully come to us with your advice and counsel as to maybe what we don't think about, because we don't always think about the things. It has been called to my attention, and quite frankly, I had to think about, are we being, inclusive? And my conclusion is no, we're not. And we talk about it all the time. It's important that we talk about it all the time. But again, we don't think and consider all the different perspectives that our community has. Every event that has been occurring downtown or with the parades, I think our services to the community, I think the community has an expectation that the city will provide those services for the entire community, regardless of what the association is, whether it's a Pride event, whether it's Cinco de Mayo. We've already driven Cinco de Mayo out of the city. They've decided just to go out to Sunnyside where they feel welcome. And I feel as though everyone in the city, every citizen, every group should be welcomed and feel as though they're welcomed in the community. So that's where I stand on these issues, but I really would like to see this commission take a stronger role in advising and counseling our city commission. And if I got a couple minutes left, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be urging the mayor and the city administrator to arrange. Now, when I first became a city commissioner, I was invited up to the Michigan Municipal League, and I got training on Open Meetings Act. I got training on FOIA. I got training on government budgeting and that kind of stuff, counting. But I would like to arrange and have the mayor and the city administrator arrange to have a representative from the MML to come down and have training, both for the city commission, this commission, the planning commission, the ZBA, all of those groups come in so we all know what the rules are. We all are singing off the same song sheet. And I think that would be a really good idea. That way there's no question as to what the rules are and what they aren't. Thank you, madam.
Ashley Cavazos, Frank 141.5 South Main Street. To kind of piggyback off of that, that was something that before I resigned, really wanted to push this year and just call this, to use a sports term, a building year for the HRC. I think this is a really good opportunity. The events that we organized over the past couple of years were fun and they were good, but I think now it's time to really focus on reaching the full potential of the HRC, being that advisory body that the HRC is supposed to be. One, it is us, and we've continually tried. I was on the HRC, we tried to get our foot in the door. We tried to get the city commission to listen to us on things. There were several times where our emails weren't answered or anything like that, like several times that I can think of. So I think the onus is probably on the city commission to come down and the city administrator to remember that there is a wealth of knowledge and experience that is different from the cis white straight majority body that is the city commission and that entire city hall building. The experiences here are completely different, and they're important when you're dealing with a city, because the city is its people, right? Like the buildings and businesses go, there are still people living in these buildings. We moved in 10 years ago when downtown was dead, right? And we're getting priced out of our neighborhood. If we want to go out to eat, we get in our car and drive somewhere else. Those are the kinds of things and the conversations that I think the HRC can raise those issues and be taken more seriously than citizens are. You would think. Also, I had a couple of questions. Oh, for the resolution, I sent it in an email and I can forward it again, but Hamilton, Ontario and New York City, New York are two cities that have banned hate group related imagery. So those are two just kind of models that you can look at. I'll send that in an email. And I'm really, really happy that you guys pushed the resolution through as it is. I know it was wordy. I know it was asking for the moon, but when you're dealing with government, and especially, I'm gonna say it again, white, cis, straight, upper middle class government, you have to ask for everything because they're gonna whittle it down. So if you make it palatable to them to begin with, they're gonna whittle it down to a husk, a token husk of what it should have been. So I have major hope that we gave them this feast and they can pick from they want and still have something meaningful at the end. So I'm so grateful to all of you for pushing that through. And I'm really hopeful and encouraged by this meeting that the HRC can reach its full potential and just continue to build. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, commissioner comments.
Okay, I have a plethora, sorry. Okay, so in answer to your question, it's kind of in a weird spot. I will tell you how to get to it, but it's not the easiest thing to find. But for violations, enforcement, and advisory opinions, there's a complaint procedure for the ethics policy, okay? And complaint must be in writing and shall include the following information: the name and address of the person who files the complaint, the name of the party or parties against whom the complaint is filed, a clear and concise statement of facts which the complaint is based upon, a reference to one or more provisions in Section 5 of the Code of Ethics that has been allegedly violated, any further information which might support the allegations and the complaint, and all of those are filed with the city clerk on the second floor. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to home, and then you're going to go to government, and then you go down to city government, then you go to commission documents, because this policy was passed by the commission. It was before me, by the way, but so this is a commission document, and that's where it's at. And then you will find ethics policy. That's not the ethics code. This is the policy, which is how to file that complaint. And it tells you right in there that, you know, you go to the city clerk. There is an ethics committee. It goes, you know, if it warrants, it goes to them. Then if they feel it, then it keeps it. There's a trail that it follows, and that's all spelled out in here in the ethics policy. But I can send you, Ashley, I can send you how to do that, because it wasn't the easiest thing. I've seen it before and I couldn't even remember, and I had to ask I had to ask Michelle myself because I couldn't remember. But so yes, so I will but I can send that to you so you know how to do that. When it comes to the parade and street closures, you know, and all of that discussion, I just want to clarify, because I don't think it was clarified. And I feel that the commission has taken a lot of heat and there's been no vote on it at all. But we literally were given that document as the meeting started. We hadn't even seen it. So we didn't ask questions. We didn't really invest, you know, it was literally trying to digest it, listen at the same time, and try to take it all in and being confused. And so I just want to clarify that I have all the same concerns as Commissioner Gauss, but that is something, and I just like to make sure that people understand that we don't always get, and that's why I said that before, don't throw it at them at the time of, because see now, we need to have a lot of discussion about this, and we hadn't even seen that. And this was all news to us. And it was very, you know, we're trying to listen, we're trying to take this in, and it wasn't even like where I didn't even ask a question other than, well, I asked one question, but it was a goofy one, but because we just were thrown it right before that meeting. So that is, you know, something to definitely take into consideration. Also, something that I would like to throw out there to the universe of the HRC is I'm starting to find this where, okay, so things like Artalicious are organized by a huge group of volunteers, okay? And there's people that have just taken this on and they're willing to, Don Taylor, I think, gives up half his life for Artalicious along with some other people. Literally, that's all they sleep, eat, and breathe. First Friday also has a lot of volunteers, but that has a lot of business volunteers because they're a little more invested because it's their downtown and they want people to come and they want people to be, you know, at their businesses. Where I see a really, I'm just throwing this out, something to think about and digest for next month's meeting is maybe looking at, maybe that's something that HRC does when it comes to things like Hispanic Heritage Celebration, Pride Month celebration, whatever it might be. And when I'm talking about, I'm not talking where the street closure, like that needs to be like a big volunteer group. I'm talking organizing and getting the word out and setting up like proclamations, flag raisings, you know, anything along that line. Just something to think about. Juneteenth, Black History Month. I mean, all of those things, because right now, you know, there's a group that does Black History Month, but then I know there's another group that's kind of said, oh, well, we didn't know somebody else was doing Black History Month. And then, you know, and then their Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm going to tell you right now, the people are burnt out. The older people that have always organized it said we're burnt out. We don't have time. We have other commitments now in our lives. We can't do this. And they are not getting the next generation to step up. They've been trying. Okay. So I finally did get, after a lot of begging and pleading, somebody to step up to do it this time, because that person was trying to get away from it because of so many commitments, but just could not find somebody to do that. And was really trying within their connections. And, you know, and I think this is starting to become a thing that we're seeing all the time. It's just getting harder and harder to get volunteers. It's harder to get people to want to, especially to want to organize anything. Like I don't have time. I don't have time. That's like the famous last line. I don't have time. And so maybe, you know, maybe that's something, just something to think about before the next commission meeting, but maybe that's something that, you know, we, you know, take on that organizing of that proclamation and, you know, that like when the proclamation's given and where and what time and getting the people there and all of that. Okay. So just something to kind of think about because, yeah, because that's literally what is happening. People are just not wanting to, or, just said, oh, I didn't have time. You know, and maybe it's just something where proclamations are done. I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a proclamation done at the city commission meeting because that's what the group requested for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is coming up in October. They just wanted it here. They wanted just a proclamation. They wanted a city proclamation. They just wanted to do it at the beginning of the city meeting. There is a group. They came forward, they asked, and that's how that came about. Maybe it's just something that it's something that's done. I mean, honestly, we get huge crowds when we do those proclamations at the beginning of city meetings, you know, so maybe that's something that we just look at for the future. But because we had a huge crowd here when they did a proclamation for Don Taylor, recognizing him for Artalicious at the last meeting. Just something to think about. I'm just throwing that out there to my fellow commissioners to think about. And I also just wanted to, I didn't think so. So I did go researching. I do believe something we talked about when it came to the Open Meetings Act, for about going into closed session. I do believe our ordinance does not allow boards to remove members. I know that it may say that in Open Meetings Act, you can go into closed session, but I do believe our ordinance does not allow boards to remove members. But I'm going to check into that further, but I am pretty sure about that one. But I will check into that tomorrow.
The city commission.
Yeah. But I will check in because I think it says all boards, but I will check into that and make sure. I just want to make sure on that one. Yes. So, okay. Sorry I talked so much, but I just want to make sure that everybody knew. I'm going to try to figure out a way to not make that quite so hidden somehow. I don't know, but yeah.
Other commissioner comments?
Just as a reminder, Mayor Heath, there is the Erase Stigma coming up on Saturday, October 1st at 9.
It's the second. It's Sunday.
That's a different one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing Alzheimer's. My brain went to Alzheimer's.
There
Okay,
you
sorry.
go.
You- you can segue into that, and the Walk to End Alzheimer's on Sunday, October 2nd at 2 p.m. at Adrian College. And anything else, Mayor? And
Yes,
it
Saturday
is
the 1st, and
Saturday
it's
the 1st.
downtown. And it's at the Four Corners. I know, I thought she said Alzheimer's, my brain, obviously.
And it starts at the market.
No, it starts at the Four Corners this year. They're doing it at the Four Corners this year. They changed it for this year.
Okay.
So just so you know, they've been announcing it a lot on the radios because they're worried a lot of people are going to try to go to the market.
Just remember that we've been invited to participate in both of those events. Commissioner Patton will be attending both of them.
Yes.
And if
So-
you are willing to, you want to invite them to be part of it.
Yes, I would appreciate who would ever like to come. I'm participating in both of them. So I would appreciate if people would come and support not just me, but also the cause. Both of them are good. So you're welcome to join me, and on Sunday, you're more than welcome.
Thank you. Other announcements at this time?
Wait, still in the
Comments?
comments.
Okay.
So comments, kudos to the M Society for a very successful Pride event. Again, talking about volunteers. This was a small group that was dedicated, and tremendous turnout. So if you can please pass that along to the rest of your committee and know that their work was appreciated. It was great. I was able to bring in individuals from Austin, Texas, Ferndale, and Brighton and Ottawa Lake. And as we were there and watched the parade, we saw Kinky Boots walk by, and two of those individuals said, "Can I come back in 2 weeks? And can we see Kinky Boots?" So we spent more money at Farber's and Cholner's than I have all year. So definitely a boost to the economy as well. As we talk about parade and street fairs, I've made my comments known to all the city commissioners. But again, I do see this as an exclusionary process that puts marginalized communities that are just having an opportunity to celebrate off to a separate but equal location that is very much a concern to me. Also concerned with some of the process that's used. As the mayor said, that was handed just before the meeting taking place. I had the opportunity to talk to several of the organizers of major events. Some people have called me up out of the blue to talk about this. There's some pretty darn good suggestions that they had, and I guess I would say that the city administrator never reached out to any event organizers that were not city employees. So as that goes through that process, and then also, a reminder that there is a city administrator evaluation. I'm sure I was held to that standard as well when things were not done as my school board expected. So I'd hope that in this role of the new light that the HRC can play. This could also be one of the things that this conversations gets kicked back to the HRC to talk about the impact of the marginalized communities, which I believe are impacted. Next thing, I would also kind of call to question some concern that I have with the City of Adrian job titles. As we go through the training coming up, just the importance of making sure that we are not using job titles that show dominance over a people, and that we address that moving forward. There was recently a position that was approved, and the title of that individual was master. And I definitely believe that that's something that As we are well aware, in the tech world, master slave components are now being renamed. In real estate, master bedrooms no longer being used. Those are terms that need to go away, and that our city administrators should not be proposing those names for job titles. The other area that I wanted to mention was at the last meeting during my public comment, I talked about suicide awareness. Unfortunately, we lost a young man, a young gay man, 29 years old, who was not able to deal with the issues of being gay. He took industrial chemicals from work and drove home in the parking lot of his apartments outside of Westco. And if you could think of the terrible death that this man had to endure because he could not come to terms with being gay, he drank these industrial chemicals until he died. And then his body was discovered by the workers and the apartment. His body, after the hazmat teams came, was removed, but yet his dignity was tarnished because the car that he killed himself in, with the note that he wrote to steer clear because of the chemical spill, remained for kids in the apartment complex to walk past, for neighbors to walk past. And I think that's a real telling situation, that when an individual chooses to kill themselves and we as a city don't have the understanding to say, this car needs to go now so that people can heal, on top of the fact that this individual killed himself in the most ghastly way possible. Those are important conversations to have. That concludes my remarks.
Other comments? Announcements?
I have a couple of those. Commissioner Ramos here, of course. So I will remind everyone, the city commission meeting is on Monday. I believe the pre-meeting starts at 5:30, though we have a couple people here that might know if I am wrong. And that it will be, among other things on the agenda, will actually be the Adrian E-Buy Neighborhood Promise that has been talked about a few times, was actually out in the paper back in February, though the paper got numerous things wrong. But there'll be some discussion of that, getting the city into the loop. Of course, that's a partnership between ProMedica, the All About Adrian Resident Coalition, I'm the chair of that, and the Lunaway Community Foundation. So if you would like to hear some information, please make sure you're at that meeting. There will be quite a bit of information, I'm sure. I would also like to announce that on the note of volunteers and small groups working really hard to make things happen, A3 Second Friday is on the 14th. We would, of course, love some help if anyone has some time. And we are working on some things for that. If you are interested, please contact me. We would love any help we can get. And of course, that is the second Friday, hosted by the All About Adrian Resident Coalition, A3. Again, I am the chair of that, so I'm the one you would want to contact. So that concludes it for now. Thank you.
Just want to announce that the Meal Assistance Program of Illinois County under the City of Refuge Ministries will have its first food distribution the first Thursday of October. That's right. First Thursday of October from at 12 o'clock at St. Mary's driveway, parking lot, 327 Erie Street.
Any other announcements?
I'll just confirm real quick that that is the 6th for him.
October the 6th, time again,
12 noon
12 noon until.
until the food's gone.
Okay. All right. Also, the NAACP, Lenawee County will be having their dinner October the 23rd, 2022 at Adrian College at 4 p.m. There's no other announcements. Any other comments? Open for a motion of adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
I hear a second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.